What's up, guys? It's your boy Chrysalis here, and I'm gonna make this video as mostly just an update, but also just kind of just let you know straight away. I'm still gonna be making videos, of course, but I'm gonna try to move to like a journal type of approach. The short of it is, I told myself when I was starting to make videos again that I did not want to be a review channel because that was rough years and years ago. There was a lot to keep up with, and it just felt like I was always behind doing that, and I just want to make things at my own pace. So that's kind of just what I'm going to be aiming for. Basically, I'm going to be making videos that are just going to be more so just, I guess, like my thoughts on like film and whatnot, and what I saw and what I'm seeing and all that. Like, for instance, I'm currently outside of my AMC at the moment, about to watch Friendship, the movie with Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. I think that'll be pretty interesting. I've heard it's pretty hilarious. And then I also watched Bottle Rocket at home yesterday. I'm trying to get caught up on all the Wes Anderson. If I have time tonight, I'll try to watch Rushmore, but we'll see. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, just stuff like that. That's all I got. I had to do like a lot of thinking. I went on vacation with my family. My girlfriend and I just got back from our little 1-year anniversary mini trip to Savannah. That was awesome. So just a lot of thinking and a lot of just vacation and just living my best life as I can. I also just kind of ended up procrastinating on the Mickey 17 review and just got stuck because I really wanted to do a written review for that movie, but it just didn't work out. I think I ended up with a rough draft, and I may still edit it some, and just how the quality of how the review ends up turning out. If it ends up coming out good, cool. If not, it is what it is. I'm also filming in my car because I also been procrastinating making this update video, or just making a video in general, because I had to use my tripod for a couple of things photo related, and I just straight up just didn't really feel like setting it back up where I had it. So I'm gonna try to make it a point to get back into the swing of things. And my room's a little discombobulated from the packing for vacation and everything. So yeah, that's kind of the update on that. Basically, I'm going to be making videos still, just in a different format than I was doing. And yeah, that's about it. I'm also going to be just covering like a random subject, or just maybe a miscellaneous amount of subjects here and there. But today's topic that I wanted to really kind of talk about was the success of the Lilo and Stitch movie. In case you weren't aware, they made a live-action remake of, or a live-action rendition, whatever you want to call it, of the classic animated Lilo and Stitch movie. And if you've also been living under a rock, the whole thing with live-action Disney remakes has not really been great. It's kind of just irrefutable that 9 out of 10 of the ones that come out not just are worse than the original, but just significantly worse than the original. And to my understanding, the Lilo and Stitch movie is not too different, but it made a lot of money though. It made bank over Memorial Day weekend. Its budget was about $100 million, so it made about, I think it was $350 million total. So it broke even within the span of a weekend, which is kind of crazy. And there's a lot to extrapolate from the success of the movie, like the fact that it also was released in tandem with the new Mission Impossible. It just so happened to have been a great weekend, great Memorial Day weekend for movies this year. unlike last year, which I think was the worst. I'm so sad that Furiosa did not do well. I'm very sad about that still. Like, where Disney could go from there, what Disney could learn or not learn from the movie doing well, where film goes from there, and yada yada yada. But for whatever reason, the main thing that people want to talk about right now is the fact that shame on the parents. Well, not really like a fact or whatever, but this perspective that we should shame parents that take their kids to see the Lilo and Stitch movie. Like, what? I'm paraphrasing the tweet, but it says, we should probably just shame parents for subjecting their children to the mediocrity and the swill and slop of the Lilo and Stitch movie and blah, 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 blah. And yada, 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 yada. I can't even bother to think of the entirety of what the tweet said. And that's also a big topic of debate about how, yeah, children do kind of deserve better from, like, animated films and movies that are specifically made for children and all that. Because that's what the Lilo and Stitch movie is. It's not just, a movie that panders to people that grew up with Lilo and Stitch, but it's also a movie for the newer generation that didn't, and now they got to make it like family friendly and all that. I don't think anybody really ever looked at Lilo and Stitch, like the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch, or any of the live action remakes of any of the Disney movies, and thought to themselves that this was meant to be like pop, art house, cinema, whatever, kino, etc. Mainly, I think what it is that film Twitter, as we call it, or just the entity that is film Twitter, is kind of this small bubble of the vast majority of people that actually like movies. Like, film Twitter just tends to forget that there is a casual audience out there that only really go to the theater like once in a while, maybe because their favorite actor is in a movie, or that the latest from Marvel or Disney or DC or some other multi-billion-dollar franchise or what have you just put out another movie or something, and they are there for the experience. And I think the success of the Lilo and Stitch movie can probably be best summarized by this Twitter account from a film journalist that I follow. Shout out to, I think the ad is like Kinsey XEX or whatever. I'm going to put it in the caption somewhere. Where she basically just said the truth. The reason the Lilo and Stitch movie was so successful was because there was quite literally nothing else for parents to take their kids to. Quite literally nothing, at least aimed for kids, that parents were able to take their kids to this weekend. Like, it is debatable that the new Mission Impossible movie, depending on the age of your kid, I guess, could be a contender, as it is only just PG-13, but I doubt it. Like, in addition to the fact that it's Mission Impossible, that it's pretty violent, it's got swears in it and all that. Also, some of the risque, sensual, and sexual stuff that appears in the movies every once in a while, especially in 2. Oh my god, especially in 2. Not exactly a movie you want to take your kids to and stuff. I can't really think of what else was playing that weekend. I guess Minecraft probably was, but that movie's been out since early April, and if for whatever reason you haven't taken your kids to see Minecraft at this point, you're probably not going to take your kids to see Minecraft. There's Friendship, which I'm seeing in a little bit. That's very much a not for kids movie. Sinners, not for kids. So yeah, as far as movies for children, Lilo and Stitch is all they had. And I'm not specifically sure why Memorial Day, this Memorial Day in particular, was so busy for movies this weekend, aside from a very much Mission Impossible movie coming out and whatnot. But as far as, like, you know, you're a parent trying to take your kids to see the movies, I'm kind of more or less at a loss why it is this weekend in particular that parents thought, oh yeah, let's go see the Lilo and Stitch movie. I guess since a lot of parents are off that weekend, considering like their line of work and all that, school's out for the summer for a lot of people. I guess when you have the double billing of Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch, it's probably a lot more popular than the double billing of Mad Max Furiosa and Garfield. But yeah, like, Kinsey was just straight up right, and people went at her neck for it for miscellaneous reasons. Some people completely misread the tweet and referenced a lot of movies that did not come out this weekend as like, no, that's not true. There's good movies for kids in theaters. And they list off like The Wild Robot, which has not been in theaters since like, I think, early this year. They listed off Dog Man, which had been in theaters for like a couple months early this year. I think they listed off Flow, which, I mean, again, not playing in theaters right now. Yeah, just a lot of like drivel coming from all these people, and I'm not too concerned about my thoughts on them. I think they're all stupid, basically. I think a lot of these people don't actually have kids. I personally don't have kids either, but also it's like, but I feel like if you did, whether or not you want to take your kid to see Lilo and Stitch or Mission Impossible, I guess kind of depends on how you feel as a parent, specifically as it pertains to your children. And I guess it depends on like their age, their behavior, and all that, whether they're even interested in seeing the Mission Impossible movie. And I'm just thinking to myself, when I see tweets that say like, parents should be shamed for taking their kids to see Lilo and Stitch because it's slop and yada yada yada, I read tweets like that and I'm just thinking, wow. These guys would not have lasted like a month as a kid going to the movie theaters in the 2000s. We had all kinds of crap in the 2000s. I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not the movie in theaters, at least not yet. Maybe they'll play it at some point. But I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of movies as a kid growing up in the 2000s. Like, on the one hand, I've seen the Lord of the Rings movies, only 2 of them. I've also watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, Harry Potter. For some reason, I watched The Pursuit of Happiness as a kid. I liked it a lot as a kid, even though I was like 10 or whatever. I think I just was very excited to see Will Smith in a movie. I think I had a big Will Smith thing for a little bit. But I've also seen some not good stuff. Like, did anybody else watch Baby Geniuses 2? That to me was like my Avengers Endgame. I enjoyed it a lot as a kid, but holy hell was it bad. Happily Never After, which was not good. Like Spy Kids 3D, I didn't think that was very good. There's just so much that was good, but also just not good that I saw in theaters. Like, on the one hand, I did see like good movies, like, of course, Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I also seen like whatever run-of-the-mill animated film that came out around that time, or whatever, like kid-friendly or PG-13, but not so PG-13 that it borders on R-rated movie at that time. And I would not trade that for the world. I think as a kid, from my perspective anyway, you need to start at seeing what movies have in store for you from all sides and all spectrums, regardless if the movie is bad or good. I have this whole thing where movies and TV shows need bad or just slop or whatever in order to just level out your experience as a film goer. Because if all you watch is good movies, then you're going to be desensitized by it every once in a while. Like, take me for example, I remember watching, I think sometime last year, I was watching like a lot of good movies at home and good movies in theaters. And then I got to be an A-lister, so I got to watch like more movies a week in theaters and whatnot. And I had a little bit of a run. I was watching like Oscar-nominated movies since it was Oscar season at that time. I watched Dune Part 2. That movie was excellent. And I watched all kinds of good shit, dude. Watched the John Wick movies because I was in a John Wick mood for a little bit. I watched Love Lies Bleeding, which is very good. I think relatively underrated too. And then I watched all this stuff, and then one day I decided, you know what? I'm gonna watch Godzilla x Kong: A New Empire. And holy hell, that was not very good in my opinion. Like, the whiplash of that kind of movie showing to me like not great acting, not great like cinematography and writing and all that. I was just reminded of a whole other side of the spectrum on film that was just invigorating. Bad, or not enjoyable in my opinion, but invigorating. And that's more or less just how I feel. Like, don't let anybody like tell you that you're a bad parent because you took them to see Lilo and Stitch. I think if you force them to see something they don't want to see or whatever, then that's one thing. But if it's like you want to take your kids to the movies and they're down to watch Lilo and Stitch, then fine. But don't let anybody shame you because you as a parent were trying to find a kid-friendly option and Lilo and Stitch was all they had. Because that's a whole other topic entirely. Anyhow, I ended up running a lot longer on the subject than I expected to. So, yeah, if you have thoughts on anything that I said about Lilo and Stitch or just slop and all that, just let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed whatever I was on about. And again, I will be going back to making videos, so I'm not gonna disappear for several years again. And yeah, hope you're having a good day. This your boy Chrysalis here, signing off.